this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. As days go by, we're gonna fill our house with happiness. The moon may cry, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. As days go by, there's room for you, room for me, for gentle hearts and opportunity. As days go by, it's the bigger love of the family.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Lions Den Wednesday edition. As we are here on a Wednesday night, a little bit of primetime action here. So, Paul's joining you here. You got Matt, you got Austin. Missing a couple guys tonight. Billy's working, Jeff's working. The MLO bros, they're up in Cleveland. So a little bit of a skeleton crew here tonight for us.
Isn't Rob drunk somewhere or something like that?
I guess so. He's MIA. Like I sent him some messages and he has not responded back yet. So, what's out?
If anybody out there is watching and you happen to be sitting in a bar and see Rob, send us pictures in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see where he's at because this was part of Rob's idea here to
go to Wednesday
on a Wednesday to change it up on the nights, but that's okay.
I think we only know that because I'm friends with him on Snapchat. I think that's the only reason why we know he's at a bar right now.
He's at a bar hanging out. There we go. But I mean, hey, we got a full slate of games, 28 games this week, and we can just dive into these. And we can talk some pro sports here too, as I'm watching the Phillies Braves game right now going into the fifth inning with no score. But we'll just dive right in here and
I think we've got almost a dozen interesting games this week too. It's a much better slate of games this week.
Yeah, even if the records aren't that great, I mean, there's still some games that'll be interesting. So, right off the rip, we've got Boardman, who's 4-4, traveling to Fitch, who's 7-1. And I think I know where everybody's going to go on this one. If you look at the line on this game, Fitch has given up almost 35 points. The line is -34 in favor of Fitch. So I have Betos and Justin. I have all their picks so far, and both of them are going with Fitch. I'll go with Fitch as well.
Yeah, I said that we've got a lot more interesting games this week. Unfortunately, this one doesn't seem to be one of them. I think Coach Parker's got the boys rolling over there in Fitch, and they're going to roll to a big win this week.
Yeah, an impressive win for them last week, right, guys? I mean, what was it, Matt? 4 or 5 overtimes?
Yeah.
That was till 11 o'clock at night, I'm pretty sure, up there. But no, Boardman, they're 17th. If they win, I think they would clinch no matter what. But I don't see it happening. I like Fitch on the road.
Yeah, this one here, being at home too, I don't know if they have another game next week. So if they don't, then this is senior night there for Fitch. So I think this one's going to be a runaway train with them. So the next game, looking at these records, this is an interesting game. But when you dive deeper into it, not so much. John Hay, who's 7-1, going to Beaver Local, who's 6-2. And with this one, Beaver Local, they haven't played anybody really with the winning record. And when they did, they lost both those games. So their 6 wins are against teams with losing records. John Hay, that 7-1 record is very deceiving because they have played a very bad schedule. And only
a lot
one
of fool's
team,
gold there.
Yeah, I mean, out of 8 teams that they've played, only one team has a winning record, and it's not very good. And to show you where this is, Beaver Local is a favorite by 23 points in this game.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I found it interesting kind of digging into this game a little bit more. John Hay's opponents are combined 16-40 on the year. Beaver Local a little bit better. I mean, their opponents are 10 games under 500 at 25 and 35. But what was really kind of staggering to me was John Hay has only allowed 44 points. And they've scored 229. Beaver Local scored 368, but they've given up 125. And so I found it really hard going back and forth on this game, but just looking at John Hay's opponents and who they've actually played, and, the quality of some of those teams was gold there with John Hay.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I like Beaver Local big. I know Paul mentioned the points in this one. I think Beaver Local cruises. And guys, to only imagine Austin Klein, the quarterback's only a junior, and the numbers he's putting up, I like Beaver Local big here. If they win out, do you guys think they can potentially get 2 home games? I know right now there are 6. I don't know, obviously the top 4 get it.
So who do they play in week 10, Austin? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Wheeling Central.
So that's going to hurt a little bit just because, with the OHSAA formula, it's a little bit harder when you're playing teams from out of state. It's going to be interesting to see where they land, but I think they're probably slotted right about where they're going to end up.
Yeah, because if you look ahead of them, Poland's in the 5 spot, Woodridge in 4, Northwest in 3, Girard, and then West Branch. And, one of our games we've got on, here you have Poland playing a good Jefferson team and Girard playing Struthers. And to see them maybe slide around, they would have to hope for Poland to maybe lose a game or Girard maybe to slip a little bit. But, at their points right now are at 11-9. They have a chance maybe to slide ahead of Poland, but to catch up to Woodridge right now would be a little tough as well. And they're definitely not catching Northwest at 14. So they'd have to win out pretty big and get some help to get into that 4 spot.
And we've actually got 2 games that are ahead of them, or 2 teams that are ahead of them in games this week that we think, could be a little bit interesting, potentially even a third when you look at that West Branch Carrollton matchup. Carrollton's a little bit better than what people thought they were going to be at the start of the year. And obviously West Branch coming off of a really tight, really physical game. I got to watch them play Alliance last week. It could make that game interesting too. We'll have to see where we all go on it.
Yeah, West Branch is going to have another tough one week 10 when they welcome Salem. So if West Branch even splits, I mean, I think they win the next 2. But even if they split, I still see them at the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But we'll get back to that one later, I'm sure.
Yeah, Matt, who did you like in the Beaver Local game?
I've got Beaver Local in that one.
Yeah, I like Beaver Local.
Yeah, I mean, Justin likes him as well. Betos is going to go with John Hay. So, and we'll get the rest of the guys.
Extensive Betos research.
Yeah, again, I think he might have been just looking at records and going off that. So, and here's another game. 2 good teams with records. So, the records say that they're good teams. Brookfield 7-1 going to Garrettsville 7-1. And, you look at this, I have my notes on this one, all the wins for Garfield have been against teams with a losing record. Their one loss was the JFK, but they only lost by a point. And the same for Brookfield. All their wins have been against teams with a losing record. And then their one loss was week 1 against Ursuline. So, but I was listening to another broadcast earlier this week, and they were like talking about teams and ranking them and things. And they were really hyped up on Brookfield. And I'm not trying to crap on Brookfield at all, but when you look at Brookfield's schedule, it's not a good schedule. And I'm sitting there like, they're like, oh, they should be getting some more hype. And they should be, I was like, I don't see them getting the hype that people are trying to say maybe they get. I look at this and go, listen, this is in my opinion, I think this could be a runaway. The line is 7. If you look at this, the line is 7. Brookfield's getting 7 in this game. But I think Garrettsville just takes this one and runs away with it.
I think you're right, Paul. I think there's a lot of teams that kind of are who we think they are, and I think Brookfield's probably one of them. When you're looking at the opponents' records, Brookfield's opponents are combined 21-41. Garrettsville's are 22-40, so kind of right there with each other. And the other thing that tells me that this game's a little bit evenly matched is Brookfield's given up 100 points and Garfield's only given up 98. So they're right there within 2 points of each other. The edge to me on Garrettsville goes when you start looking at the offensive numbers. Garrettsville's scored 324 points this year to Brookfield's 262. So I think, the G-men usually have a pretty good offensive game plan. They usually go into games figuring that they're going to score some points. Giving up 98, that's kind of par for the course for them. I think that's right around where they are every year at this time. But I'm with you. I think I've got to give the edge to Garrettsville in this one. And I think it's probably more like a 2-touchdown game.
Well, I spoke to both coaches on Monday. It's our game of the week. And, I asked them, I said, listen, neither one of you two have played a close game, basically more than once this season. Your whole players, all your players, the starters are going to have to play a whole game. You're not used to that. Do you think it's going to be a factor? What are the ups and downs of all that? I mean, definitely getting you guys ready for the playoffs, no matter what. I think Brookfield comes in on the road and knocks them off. I'm going to go Warriors. Yeah, I like Brookfield. I watched their practice more Monday than I did Garfield. And that Donovan Pulaski kid, he's a hell of a player. He's putting up numbers. Yes, they haven't played anyone really noticeable besides Ursuline, but he's putting up some numbers. And, I'd like to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think he's a player to watch. If Brookfield's going to win, he's got to have a big night.
And I'll say this, and not to interrupt you, Paul. Isaiah Jones, one of their receivers, and I see this last week. He dropped a touchdown pass, and you can see his frustration. He just wasn't on the rest of the game. If that happens early on, Brookfield, and he just is out of it, Brookfield's in for a long night because he's their go-to receiver.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. Like I said, Betos and Justin both took Garfield in here too. So Austin, you're riding solo on this one for right now. Like I said, we still got the other guys'
picks
picks
to come still. Yeah, I think they're all kind of laying back, waiting.
Yeah, I think some of these guys are probably going to be watching the show later on and going, okay, I need to pick up some points here. I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah,
this next game,
they're all welcome already, right, Paul? For us doing all their research for them.
Exactly.
They're just going to have to go back and watch the show to do their prep for their picks.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting all these picks here later this week, and they're all be like, yeah, I'm going this way. I'm like, oh, okay.
Hey,
Camel
Paul,
and
real
Newton
quick.
Falls. Yep.
Before we move on, just for the viewers out there, please make sure that you like and follow the Lions Den page. Also, make sure you like and follow the MLO Bros page. Austin, obviously, Malutic Live. You guys are going to want to check that out, especially if you're here with us on a Wednesday night watching a show about high school football picks. Those are for sure pages that you're going to want to like and follow.
Yeah, even Justin's 330 is out there as well.
Justin's 330 for sure too, and feel free to comment in here. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen any comments yet to put up, but definitely put them up there. So now you have two teams that are 2-6. Camel going to Newton Falls, and Newton Falls is a 2-touchdown favorite in this game. I like Newton Falls in this game. It's a home game for them. Camel snuck up and got one on us last week because we all took champion, and they took that from us, gave us all a big L. But I don't know. Newton Falls kind of impresses me a little bit, even though 2-6 is not really that impressive. But they're at home. These teams, when they're both like this, I tend to lean to the team who's going to be at home. So,
yeah, I'm kind of with you there. The big thing that stood out to me in this matchup was Campbell's allowed 339 points this season to Newton Falls' 172 that they've allowed. And Newton Falls is scoring, at a decent clip with 133. So I'm with you, Paul. I think Newton Falls has the edge in this one, and I think it's not as close as maybe the records would indicate.
Yeah. Real quick, we got Dom D'Antonio saying hi to us on here. Dom and I went to school together. He was a year or two behind me in high school. He has a benefit coming up this Sunday out at the Shrine Club in North Lima. He's battling a round 2 with some cancer. So there's a spaghetti dinner going on. There's going to be some cornhole, all kind of stuff going out there from 1 to 6 out at the Shrine Club. So if you get a chance, you want to come out and support. I think there's a gun raffle going on, all kind of fun stuff. So come out and support him and, help out one of our community members out there suffering right now. So, be out there supporting Dom on Sunday.
Definitely that, what a good cause. And obviously, all of our thoughts are with you, Dom, and we're pulling for you to beat this, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Dom. All of us here.
So, yeah. So, sorry, Austin. Now, your Newton Falls Camel pick.
I'm going against you guys again. Give me Camel on the road. If Camel has a chance to win out and sneak into this playoffs in Division 6, and that's crazy to think. They'll probably get Kirtland round 1, obviously, but just the way Andrew King has turned this program around, though, guys. I mean, obviously we know the conference isn't the best besides Garford and Brookfield, but just some life in Camel.
Yeah, I'm with you on Coach King.
Imagine that. Could you imagine the bloodbath that would be in round 1 if they would sneak into the playoffs? I mean, right now they're in the 20 spot, but the thing is the 16, like they're in 20 with 2.6. They're only a point behind the 16 spot. So like you said, Austin, they could sneak in there and you get Kirtland, who's got 23 points.
And let me say this, Paul. Liberty, who they play in Week 10, is a D5 school. They're going to get points from Liberty if they beat them.
Yeah, for sure. That's where the points come into play. Big time in that matchup if they can get past this Newton Falls team. But I'm with you, Austin. I like what Coach King's doing out there in Camel. I think that he's really starting to turn the corner with that program. For me personally, I think they're one more year away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, Austin's the only one riding solo on that one with Camel. So, I mean, we'll see with that one. Maybe they can pull off another win for us, for you at least, this week.
I will say I wouldn't mind being wrong on that one. I'd be okay with being wrong.
Well, I need the win, so I don't want to be wrong on that one.
The guy sitting in first place needs the wins.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, listen, and I'll give some updates halfway through here where everybody finished last week. It was a close week for everybody. It really was. Everybody's only separated by a point or two. This one should be an easy pick here. Howland 2-6, going to Canfield 6-1. This is another one of those huge spreads. It's actually one of our first big ones. They're picking Canfield to win by 43. It's a 43-point spread here.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think that's probably a fair spread. Canfield really seems to have something this year. I'm more excited to see what they do in the playoff run. I'm obviously picking them big this week.
Yeah, I like Canfield. I like Canfield big time. Cease, Chardon, Canfield, Urson, Cheney in that Division 2 is going to be crazy.
That's a tough region. That's a really tough region.
And listen, you get a United University School in Kai Valley. I mean, it's not a tough, region out of those top 6.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch those playoffs in that particular region.
And that's something else that upsets me is everything's on Friday for the first 2 rounds.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that, but I mean, I don't have to say it.
And the thing that blows me away about that, Austin,
their excuse was so stupid with that too, because OHSA came out and said, "Well, we want to make sure people get to as many games as they can." Well, that makes no sense.
No, and the thing about it too, Paul, is usually everything that the OHSAA does is about more money for the OHSAA. This creates less money for the OHSAA because you're losing those diehards that are going to go to multiple games in a weekend.
And you're looking at referee shortage too.
Right.
That's the big thing there. Like
across the board, it makes no sense.
Because you would have a crew do a Friday game and then go do a Saturday game. And now if everything's on Friday, not to crap on these officials, but like what kind of quality officials are you going to get maybe at some of these D6, D7 games? Because they're going to realistically, they're going to say, listen, we're going to put these guys at the big games at our bigger, division schools, 6 and 7, that 1 versus 16 matchup might just be, whatever. Like, all right, look at this. I got Rob calling me right now, knowing we're on the show. I should put him on. Hey, we're on the show right now. Where are you at?
What do you mean you're on the show?
Dude, what do you mean what show? You're the one that said, let's move the show to Wednesdays at 8:30. What do you think we've been promoting all week? Wednesday, 8:30, the Lions Den.
Oh, my God. I cannot believe how stupid I am. I'm sitting there getting everything ready today, thinking it's Friday. Oh my God, I'm an idiot.
There we go.
All right, so we'll see in like 3 minutes, right?
Spot on. There you go. We moved the show for you, and here we are.
I seriously thought you were asking to meet me out.
Nope. Okay. See you later. All right. He's gone.
You know, I think so. To get back to what we were talking about, Paul, I don't think that it's necessarily crapping on the referees for all of us to admit that there's good crews and there's not as good crews. I think that's just kind of across the board. You know, you've got experience factors. You know, I'll tell you from my days of coaching, I had a couple of white hats that probably should have hung it up a couple of years ago or a couple of decades ago for that matter. But I think you're right. I think we're going to see the quality of the officiating crews, especially in the lower division games, you know, maybe not be as good. And the question you start having to ask as a coach is, could that potentially cost somebody a playoff win? You know, just on a blown call.
And it's the first 2 rounds. So maybe those first round games, okay, your 1 should beat your 16 and on down the line. But, you know, you got an 8-9 matchup. That could be a close game. And then now all of a sudden you go into the week 2, and yes, there's less games, but still everybody's still playing on the same day.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden it's going to be like, all right, here we go. So,
you know, I was a big advocate for, and I mean, I don't know how big of an advocate you can be as a, you know, Division 7, 8th smallest school in the state coach for anything. But I was a big advocate for the Friday, Saturday on weekend 1, and then going to 3 days on weekend 2 and making it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just so that you could get fans to even more games across the board.
I think you worry about like school though with that, like the kids having late games and then having to go to school.
But even if you backed up kickoff by an hour, you'd still be in good shape. And if you took the teams that were playing on Friday night and made half of them Thursday games and the other half of them Friday games, and maybe, you know, split up a little bit of the Saturday games into a Friday, Saturday schedule, you could realistically get fans that went to 3 different games in a weekend.
Yeah.
All
right, back to our
I know that.
Yeah.
We have Crestview 2-5 going to Champion, who's 3-5. They've lost 3 in a row, and this will be their senior night at Champion. And Crestview their only 2 wins have been against Camel and LeBray, who are, like we said, you know, on paper, 2 bad teams, you know, LeBray and Camel. Champion actually is the underdog in this game. They are getting 8 points at home.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. And, you know, before last week, I think Champion would have been the easy pick in this one. But last week showed me that there may be some issues there, or, you know, at least maybe they had a hiccup week. The thing that's really interesting to think about is, you know, I keep hearing things about Crestview and some dysfunction that's going on there, you know, within the team, not necessarily from an administrative standpoint or a coaching standpoint, you know, just some stuff that's out of the norm, stuff that you don't like hearing about as a coach that's going on with some of the players on the team. It makes me curious. I don't know that any of it's true, but I think I'm going to go with Champion and a bounce back this week. And I really don't have a gut feeling on this game either way. I'm going Champion because I think they need to bounce back.
Matt, I'm going to agree with you a little bit there. I've heard the same thing you have about Crestview. Not only have I heard it about Crestview, I've heard about Champion as well.
Yeah.
I've heard fans. I mean, obviously fans, you know, they're always going to disagree with coaching, players as well. But I mean, I've heard it on both sides of the thing. So, but with that though, I'm gonna go Crestview on the road. Champion disappointed us last week.
They did.
All right. I mean, losing to Camel. So I'm gonna go Crestview. Crestview's not a bad football team. That's the only thing though. Like they've played a very tough schedule. They've played Salem. They've played Garfield. Obviously they played Brookfield. I mean, they've played 3-4 tough games this year.
Yeah, they definitely have. And I think, you know, I've seen Crestview play this year. I actually got a chance to go early in the season and see him play a pretty good Salem team. And they hung right there. You know, the big thing to me with them is the interior of their offensive line is a little bit undersized, and that's kind of hurt them a little bit this year. But I think they're coming into their own as the season progresses, gaining some of that maturity that they need, some of that game experience, and that's a real factor.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, they only lost to Salem and Southern Local by, 7 to 10 points, around that range.
And those are two pretty decent teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I originally picked Champion in this game because I was sitting there with being senior night, and I think they get a bounce back. I'm going to stick with that pick, though. I'm going to stick with Champion at home, bouncing back after, if you want to say an embarrassing loss, it was an embarrassing loss to them last week, but I got that one. I think our next game here should be another runaway, 16 points going the other way on this one. Harding and Cheney playing. Harding's 2-6, Cheney's 7-1. Cheney's given up 16 points in this game. I think we can blow through this one. Betos and Justin took Cheney. I'm taking Cheney.
And honestly, I think it's more like a 3-touchdown game.
Yeah, I like Cheney in this one too. And the only thing that hurts them is they might not get any points this week or next week playing Harding and East. That's going to hurt them.
I think, though, they're up there enough that they should still continue to have that. They'll have that home game probably for the first 2 rounds, so they should be okay.
Yeah, I agree there.
Here's a battle of just 2 teams that are just I don't know. I don't want to say terrible. Columbiana's been struggling.
Come on, Paul. Polish the turd a little bit here for us.
I mean, these are just 2 teams that are just not real. I mean, Letonia's bad. 0-8, getting worse as the year progresses. They're getting 26 points in this one. Spate finally got his 200th win last week. And listen, it's just – I'm going to pick Columbiana in this game because you just can't take Letonia. Justin and Betos took him as well. But, I mean –
yeah, we're probably going to blow right through this one too. And I'm just going to go ahead and congratulate Coach Spade on win 201.
Yeah.
I think Coach Spade can stay at home and still they'd be fine. Give me Columbia on the road.
Yeah. I think this next one here should be another blow-through game here. East, Ursuline, this is – when you go look at Drew Pastor's site, 49 points is the most he will give any school. And 49 is what he's given in this game. And this was – I think nobody's going to take East in this game at all.
Not so fast, my friend. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
What was the spread on the Columbiana-Latonia game, Paul?
The Columbiana-Latonia game is 26. Letonia's getting 26. And Mush is trying to video in from the bar. I don't know if I should bring him in or not.
Yeah.
It could be interesting.
Yeah. He's screaming at the thing. He's trying to get me to put him on. He's backstage. We're leaving him backstage right now.
Can we play the parental advisory and just let him on for a minute?
Oh, God. Yeah, I guess we can.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got kids in the room, you may want to have them tune in.
Listen, I don't have any ear pods in. I am so sorry. I completely whiffed. I'm still stuck on Friday, man. I feel like such a douchebag right now. I can't apologize enough. I don't even know if you guys can hear me.
You are Mush the douche. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Paul, I'm going to send you my pics. Listen, man. As soon as when you were texting me, I thought you were asking me to hang out. And I'm like, why the hell is Paul Munson asking me to hang out? So I'm like, that's why I called you. Like, where do you want me to be at? I totally forgot. I'm such a dumbass.
Maybe on the show that we've been on for the last couple of weeks. I don't know. Yeah, go off.
Listen. I'm sending you my pics. I love you guys. I'm so sorry. I'll be there next week without a doubt. No shit. I can't apologize enough. I feel like a complete idiot.
Well,
Paul, you still love me, brother?
We all know who you are, Rob. So at least we totally expect this out of you, so it's okay.
Hey, but come see me at bingo tomorrow, double bogeys. I'll be there 6 to 9. But I'll definitely go next week. I'm so sorry.
He's promoting himself. Just for that, he's out of here. Trying to promote himself doing stuff.
I was going to ask him if there was Nickelback playing on that jukebox behind him.
Oh my goodness. All right, here an interesting game here. Oak Glen 2-5 going to East Liverpool 1-7. Again, my notes. It's a common theme with a lot of these schools. I mean, 2 bad teams. Just 2 bad teams here. I mean, my points were off. Matt, you had this, but East Liverpool's getting 14 points in this.
Yeah. Oak Glen actually has their opponents have 9 less wins than East Liverpool's. East Liverpool's opponents have a 31-32 record, kind of 500 schedule there. What's kind of interesting is neither one of these teams can really score points. Oak Glen scored 103 on the season. They haven't played as many games, obviously, but East Liverpool's only scored 91 points this season, guys. And I think that, a big part of that is, a young quarterback. And it seemed to me when I saw this East Liverpool team early in the season that they were trying to rely on throwing the ball, and it looked like their bread and butter should have been running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and they got a new coach down there too, so that's not.
Well, yeah, and that was a mid-season move, right?
Yeah.
So not entirely sure what happened there, but obviously it sounds like there's some sort of dysfunction there right now too.
Yeah, I'm going Oak Glen. East Liverpool just looks bad, but I know someone who might apply, so we'll see what happens.
Don't you be putting that on me.
Yeah, Matt, who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I'm taking East Liverpool just because I think that they've got a decent running game if they want to utilize it. And I think, I'm just kind of going with the home team on this, not to mention the fact that, an Ohio team.
Yeah, Betos and Justin both took Oak Glen. And, I mean, like I said, my picks have all been I've circled them all earlier in the week, and I had East Liverpool circled in this game. I like them in this game. Just again because it's the home team, and I had them scoring more points.
I will say, Paul, the thing that scares me about East Liverpool is they've given up 317 points this year. That's a ton of points to be given up.
Yeah, but it's probably been to like better teams than Oak Glen. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oak Glen, the local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fairness, Oak Glen's given up 259. So this may be let's call it a Big 12 shootout game.
All right.
Yeah. Last week, week 8, our records last week, Rob and I both finished at 26-3. Matt, you were 25-4. Austin and Luke were 24-5. Billy at 23-6. Isaac and Justin at 22-7. And Betos in the basement at 18-11. He had some just bad picks last week, too. He was picking some stupid teams. I mean,
I think he may have been drinking when he made his picks.
Yeah, that's true, too. Overall, I'm at 172-31. Rob is 167-36. Matt, you're in third at 162-41. Austin in fourth at 158-45. Justin at 156-47. Billy at 155-48. Betos at 152-51. Isaac at 151-52, and Luke bringing up the basement overall at 144-59. So next game we have on the docket here is an interesting one to me because the team I'm picking in this game might surprise some people. Maybe it doesn't. You've got Girard, who's 6-2, going to Struthers, who's 4-4. Girard right now still sitting at number 2 in the region. They've taken a couple lumps over the last 2 weeks. They beat Hubbard. They need a win to stay in the top 4. But then you go over and look at Struthers. They've won 3 in a row. They're sitting at number 16 in their region, which is just making the playoffs. And they need a win to stay in. And a win against Girard would help out big time. And the line in this game, Struthers is getting 12 points.
Yeah.
I'll give mine first.
Matchup.
I got Struthers. I like Struthers in this match. I do. I think they come out and they cause some problems, and I got them winning this game at home.
I think this Struthers team is playing some pretty good football right now, and I think that some people weren't maybe necessarily expecting that. When you look at, just by some of the numbers, Struthers' opponents have a slightly worse record at 33-29. Girard's opponents at 37-26. The points for are, only within about, less than 40 of each other. Girard scored 282. Struthers has scored 247. And then Struthers has given up just a few more points at 164 to Girard's 134. but I'm with you, Paul. I think, Struthers kind of has some momentum going, and I think they're going to be hyped up because this game means more to them than it does Girard in terms of playoff standings. And I think with maybe one more win, Struthers can sneak into the back door there. I'm not sure who they play in week 10, but this is really the big one for them. It's going to be the points game that gets them, over the hump and for sure secures them a spot if they can pull it off.
Absolutely. And Matt, they get Poland next week at
Okay.
So, I mean, you win one of those two, I think you're in no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are big points there. I'm going Girard on the road, but I thought about this game a lot. I think it's going to be close. I mean, this can go either way at the end.
Yeah, and let's see. Everybody else, Betos and Justin both took Girard. Rob dumped his picks in here. I just got him. Rob's going to take Struthers as well. So right now we're split 3 apiece. So
Paul, let me ask you a question. If Girard had their quarterback, would you pick Girard?
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
If Girard still had their quarterback, I think Girard wins out the rest of the year. I don't think they lose the game. I don't think they lose last week.
Yeah.
If they still have their quarterback. I know that the quarterback who's there was their quarterback before, so it's not like they're putting into some kid who's a backup that doesn't know anything. But that quarterback that they had was just unbelievable. I mean, and I went to that game and he was great, but getting hurt them. And like I said, they're going to get in the playoffs for sure. Like I said, they're a 2 seed right now. They probably could lose a game or two and it wouldn't hurt them that bad. Because what are they? They're D4.
They get Niles next week.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at them, they're at 15.5. Northwest is behind them at 14.7. So, and then Woodridge is at 12. So really, they've got some wiggle room. They could probably lose a game. I don't know about 2, but they could lose 1 for sure and still be fine and keep that home field playoff game because they've guaranteed themselves, obviously, a playoff spot. Even West Branch hasn't guaranteed themselves a home game.
Let me ask you this, Paul, just because I don't know, or Austin, you might know too. What actually was the injury? Was it a collarbone, or is there a chance that this kid's coming back in the playoffs?
No, he's done. I think it was a shoulder, wasn't it? He broke his shoulder.
I think it's collarbone, and he had surgery, so yeah, he's done for the year.
Yeah, that's a done for the year then.
Yep.
And that's also going to ruin, some offers from colleges.
Well, and it's going to kind of ruin that region, right? That was a pretty with the teams that moved out of that region already from last year. It was a pretty weak region to begin with, and I think it just waters it down even that much more.
And you two know the most how high I've been on Girard all season.
Yeah,
from weeks 1 to whenever they played South Range, and now it's like, West Branch might just cruise, maybe Northwest as well.
So yeah. I'm pretty convinced that Billy's using the Lions Den account right now because of that comment.
Yeah, he chimes in here. We'll show it for a half second. How did Cleveland do last night?
And then we'll take it off there because nobody wants to talk about it. And we get it, Billy. You're a front runner.
Yeah. Let's see here. Our next game here, we got a bunch of games still to go through. We got Niles, who's 2-6, going to Hubbard, who's 5-3. And this line here is 17. Niles is getting 17. I like the home.
Let's rapid fire these next 5 here just to kind of play a little bit of catch up.
Yeah. Because I think, some of them are some all right games.
More interesting,
yeah. I got Hubbard in this one. I like Hubbard at home. I don't think Niles has that good of a team right now either.
Yeah, I've got Hubbard in this one, and honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it, but I think Niles is just not the team that they were a year ago.
Hubbard needs a win Friday because of one reason. They get South Range next week, and they're not going to win that. So they got to win. They got to win Friday night.
So Springfield 4-4, Jackson Milton 6-2, and just to show you how much people are still thinking about how good Springfield could potentially be and what they thought they were going to do throughout the league. They're favored by 25 points in this game. And, Jackson Milton being 6-2. But again, Matt and I talked a little bit, pre-show. Jackson Milton hasn't really played anybody. And Springfield had a really tough first 3 games of the season. and then they lost to Lowville, but they've taken care of business when they had to in this league, which is what they should have been doing. And I mean, I think Springfield takes this one going away.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people early in the year that were kind of questioning Springfield and the out of conference schedule. But, knowing Coach Guerrero the way that I know him and playing him, for the last quite a few years here as a coach, there's a method to the madness. And he knew that it was going to take some time for this team to gel and come together and really learn how to be winners. I think in the past couple of weeks, we've seen them take steps towards that. And I think Springfield takes this game. And the other thing that you really can't, you can't count out is the fact that for a lot of high school teams, there is still a mental hurdle to playing Springfield because of what they've done to everybody for the last 4 years. And, so it's tough sometimes as a high school coach to get kids up for a game when in the back of their mind, they're like, man, they smoked us last year. They smoked us the last 4 years. I was in junior high the last time we were even competitive with them, and so I think that that's a factor in it too. But I like Springfield in this game, and it's no slight to Jackson Milton or Coach Brode. I just think that, Coach Guerrero does a fantastic job over there.
Matt, let me ask you this. Springfield, let's just say they finish 6-4. Would you rather have them at 5th at 6-4, or would you rather have them at, 10th and 9-1?
Yeah, I think they're dangerous either way, but I don't think there's anybody that wants to see them as a 10 seed in those top few seeds there. Even going on the road, I think that teams would really hate to see them in the first round, even coming to their place.
And I'm not to be surprised if we see them play Lowville round 2. I mean,
it's real possible.
But no, I got Springfield by 3-4 touchdowns. Jackson Milton's played 2 tough teams this year, got embarrassed both games, so I'm going Springfield.
This next game was a game as I'm sitting here watching Acuna Jr. just get hit in the elbow, which is just he's on the field. He stayed on the field. But
what's the score of that game?
It's still nothing in the 6th. This game here, I was telling Matt about. I have not picked a team in this game yet. Jefferson 5-3, number 8 in their bracket right now. They get Lakeview next week. Going to Poland, who's 5-3. They're sitting in the 5 spot, and it's senior night. And man, I mean, they get Niles next, and they're favoring Poland in this game by 10 points. But I mean, I watched Jefferson last week, and yeah, listen, everybody who's played South Range has been a running clock for the most part. But I did get to see, even in some bad weather last week, Jefferson could move the ball a little bit. They had a good front line that was moving around, and they were pushing South Range around a little bit. I mean, again, South Range took care of business and had a running clock 42-7, but they had some improvements for sure. But man, this game, I'm going to go with Poland after kind of looking at some things. I mean, it's senior night for them. This team is finally starting to pick up where they left off. And again, I think this plays into, Matt, what you said about playing Springfield. It's the Poland name. Teams still see Poland. It's the Bulldogs, and you got to come into Poland and play at that stadium. And I think Jefferson, this was the year that they touted as like, hey, we're going to make some noise in the NE8. And I don't think they make the noise they think they're going to. I think they finished 6-4. I think they beat Lakeview next week, but I don't think they win this week. I got Poland.
Yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it. Poland, I was extremely disappointed with you early in the year. And, if there's any Poland players or coaches watching us right now, which, I mean, it's kind of late on a Wednesday night. I hope you're, preparing for the game instead of watching us sit around here and pick games. But Poland, I want you to show me something going into the playoffs, because I think that, you're coming together as a team and you've got the ability to maybe make some noise in the playoffs, even though, you're probably going to have maybe a first round home game and then have to go on the road. But I'm picking Poland in this one, not just because they're the home team, but like you said, Paul, I think there's that, the giant P on the helmet factor in this one too. Kids see that and they know the history and the tradition that's there in Poland. And, I just want to see these kids come together and show me that they can make some sort of a run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go Poland too, and I'll make it quick. I mean, Poland looked bad week 1 against Cheney. They scored 2 points. And Chaney screwed up with that. That's the only reason why they scored the 2 points.
Yeah.
But Bruins definitely have turned it around since then. But I'll take Poland at home.
So next game is Liberty 3-4 going to LeBray, who's 0-8, and the line in this game is only 13. Even with Liberty having 3 wins under their belt, but LeBray's just bad. I mean, they lost so much. They are definitely not the team they used to be. I got Liberty all day in this game.
Yeah, I'll make this one real short and sweet. Liberty, 13 is probably a fair line, but Liberty.
Yeah, give me Liberty. Can they get in 4-5?
It's going to be tough.
And if they do, they've been hovering around that 15-16 spot. They get in, they're going to see South Range.
Yeah.
Do you want that monster sitting
there? They might just opt out.
Yeah.
That's something we haven't talked about at all yet. And obviously, as we're kind of inching closer to the playoffs, for me personally as a coach, if you earn your way in, you go and you play. The COVID year was a little bit different because they opened it up and said everybody gets in. And I know, my team opted out that year, but it was, we just weren't ready. But I said, even from that time, if you earn your way in, you go play.
Absolutely. Because you look at it with your seniors on the team. If you earn that 16 spot, listen, those seniors get a chance now to go play in a playoff game for their last year and they get out there. But I mean, listen, you get in, you got to go see one of these 1 seeds. It's going to be a long day for you. Another game I think we'll just blow right through here. United 7-1 hosting Lisbon, who's 5-3. Lisbon's getting 26 in this one.
Yeah, it's a tune-up game for United. They win going away. I think that United's they're getting ready for that D6 playoff bracket. I'm not sure how much noise they can make in that bracket this year, but it's United in this one.
That's disrespectful towards Lisbon for the 26 points. I think Lisbon keeps it close. I do. I think Lisbon keeps this close. United's been struggling against some of those teams. I mean, we've seen East Palestine take a 6-0 lead over them. Obviously, but they came back in that one and didn't let them score again. But I mean, I think Lisbon keeps it close in this first half. But I like United at home.
Next game, Austin, your boys here, undefeated Louisville, 8-0, going to Middle Ridge, who's 7-1. This is a 6-point line. That's what Middle Ridge is getting. They're only getting 6 points. And this one, I go back to when Middle Ridge had to play Springfield, and I said that, Springfield knows how to win. Louisville knows how to win, and they know how to go in, and they know how to take care of business. And Middle Ridge, it's been a long time since Middle Ridge has had a good team and doing what they're doing right now. And I know they're at home, but, man, I think Vinny and those guys go in there and take care of business, and there we go. Cunha Jr. scores. Finally. Jeez, oh, man.
Nothing like live updates.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting game to me. And I know, we talked about it a lot in pre-show. Austin, you and I have kind of bounced it off of each other a couple times now. I think if you're Ridge and you want to pull the upset, because obviously Ridge is going to be the underdog in this game, there's a couple of things.
Back in the house.
There he is.
What's up, fellas?
So to me, there's 3 huge keys to this game if Ridge wants to pull the upset. The first one is you have to limit Benovsky's production. Even if you have to bracket cover him, put somebody on him in the shallow flat curl area, and then have a safety over the top. The other thing is you've got to, if you're Ridge, keep Malone in the pocket. I think where he does most of his damage is when he gets outside of the tackle box and he's moving around a little bit, and it gives those receivers an opportunity to kind of run around and just kind of lose the defender, if you will. And then the third big key to me, if you're Ridge and you want to pull the upset in this game, is you have to effectively run the ball and control the time of possession. If they can do all 3 of those things, they could potentially pull the upset in this game. But with that said, I've got to go Louisville, but I think it's a closer game than even we think.
I think Louisville needs
I do not think it will be close unless Ridge can put 17 guys on defense.
Well, that's funny, Billy, because I asked Coach Shaner yesterday, I'm like, how are you going to plan on stopping Luceni, Bonoski, Lucido, and their two running backs all at the same time? He's like, it's not going to be – we can't. You know, he said it's going to be tough for us. He thinks it's going to be high scoring.
I think the only way – listen, I mean, how you stop a great passing attack is really simple. You run the football, you wait for the hand to come up, and you just limit possessions. That's the only way.
Billy, let's be even more real about it. How do you limit a team that passes the ball a lot? It goes back to junior high football. My defensive coordinator, Wade Smith, used to say this all the time, and I couldn't agree with it more. It's really hard to throw the freaking football if you're laying on your back constantly. Bring a ton of pressure, keep Malone in the pocket, and make him throw from the pocket. Make him turn into a pocket passer. Limit the amount of time that he's got to sit back there and pick you apart, because if you give him the time to sit there and pick you apart, he's a good enough quarterback that he's going to do it all day long.
I think the only, I mean, you're not wrong. It's just the fact that running some slant routes and some under, some bubbles, they'll do that to you too. It's not just throwing the ball down the field. It's boom, hut, and then the ball's out of your hands, and there's nothing you can do about it. So trying to get pressure, I mean, unless you've got old school Javon Curse back there who can just fly. You know, Cardinal Mooney and Ursula for years in their heyday, they would always say their best players play defensive line. They're most athletic players. So unless you have that type of defensive line that can get and attack the quarterback, which I don't think Ridge has. It's not that they have good players there. They play good defense, but when you get to the quarterback in less than 3 seconds, I think it's fair to say no high school team can do that.
So I know Ridge is, as not a really gauntlet of a schedule. And honestly, Austin, you and I can say too, knowing the NBAC as well as we do, neither does Louisville. There's not a lot of good teams in the NBAC in that division this year. But the thing that kind of stood out to me in this game is, we know Louisville can score. They've scored 385 points on the year. They've given up 134. But when you look at Ridge, the question mark becomes how much passing has that defense seen, because they've only allowed 82 points on the season. This is an interesting matchup to me. And honestly, if I was picking a game to go to this week, that might be the one I go to.
Yeah. I mean, it should be a good matchup. Two teams that are going to battle it out there in that league. So the next game we got is Matthews at Wyndham. This should be a pretty easy one to pick. Matthews 7-1, Wyndham at 3-4, and Wyndham's getting 20 in this game.
I'll go first. I'm going with Matthews.
Wyndham can have 40. Give me Matthews.
Matthews, sure. They're playing somebody.
The Bombers. Your Wyndham Bombers, Billy.
That's right. Waterloo at McDonald. McDonald 2-6. Waterloo 3-5. Only notes I had on this one, because this is basically a pick'em game. It's a 1-point spread. McDonald's getting that point at home. They've lost 3 in a row. Their only wins were against Latonia and Columbiana. Waterloo played at Jackson Milton pretty close last week. They lost 7-0. Both teams played Western Reserve close, and McDonald played Louisville closer than Waterloo did. Listen, just because it's a home game, and I mean, I hate that's what I always fall back on, but playing at home helps. It really does. Your fans are there, everything else. I like McDonald in this game.
Good, Billy.
Yeah, I think my McDonald train ran weeks ago. I think they've been in a spiral and playing close. As much as I know it'll pain Austin, I'm going to go Waterloo.
Billy, I'm on your side tonight. I got to go Waterloo. I mean, I think they're a better football team here.
So here I was sitting here thinking I'm going to be the guy that goes out on a limb, and it turns out that I'm on board with everybody else except for Paul. Hopefully this is that game where we can all make up a little bit of ground on Paul, because I'm going Waterloo too. And
you know what? Screw
Coach
it.
DeVise, if you're out there watching, because I know you check out my Facebook stuff most of the time, hey, bring one home for me this week.
Yeah.
You know what?
Hey, real quick. I don't know if anybody asked you this yet, Coach, but did you get permission from Luke
to wear
the no sleeves?
I did it in honor of Luke.
No, you got to get written consent for Luke.
It was
man.
my little homage to him.
Yeah.
Nah, you
He's
gotta
got
get
exclusive
you
rights
We
to
got to
that.
have somebody here every week that's legal, right?
Yeah.
No, the fact of the
And listen,
matter is,
before we get to our next game, I'm gonna jump ship. I'm gonna jump with everybody else, just so I either win or lose with all you guys. I'll go over to Waterloo too, even though I might kick myself in the ass for jumping ship. But
So
I
let's
mean-
tell the truth about what you're doing, Paul. Paul's plan for the rest of the season is to just sit on the ball and run the clock out.
That's about it. That's like just sit there and hold it. Just sit there and hold it. Next game we got Salem Marlington. Salem 5-3, Marlington 1-7. Marlington getting 18 points in this one. Does anybody like Marlington at all?
No, Salem goes on the road and handles business.
I thought it'd be higher than 18 points, but no, I like Salem.
And Billy disappeared. I'm sure.
Yeah, Billy's gone, but I think he's going to pick Salem.
Yeah.
The next game here, I think this is a blowout too. Western Reserve 2-6 going to Sebring, who's 0-8. I mean, listen, we were all talking earlier in our chat about some stuff going on at Sebring. Sebring's getting 40 points in this one to a 2-6 Western Reserve team, but I don't care. Western Reserve, they might cover that 40.
Yeah, Western Reserve's going to handle business on what I'm sure is their senior night, or it may be senior night, homecoming, and parent recognition night all rolled up into one. They're gonna handle business, like you said, Paul. There's some things going on that are obviously going to come out in the next coming days here. With Sebring, that obviously, as a former coach, as a graduate, I'm really disappointed in, but Western Reserve handles business.
Yeah, Western Reserve.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but Western Reserve.
Check your group chat.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah.
You can hear what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You hear it in the background. So
Oh yeah.
smacking some baseballs around. Another probably runaway game here. I don't think anybody's got the balls to take East Palestine in this game. Southern going down there to the armpit, taking on East Palestine. 45 points in this game. I'm just going to write everybody's name in on this one, just so you know.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it. We don't even have to go around the horn on this one, do we?
I know I say this all the time. I just love the way Southern plays football. Like, it's just you could just count on them being in games, playing good defense, and they're gonna beat some teams up. I just the physicality of what Southern local does is just second to none.
Yeah, Coach Wright does a heck of a job with those boys.
I think they're going to come out and just take all their frustrations out from last week of losing that game in the Valley and say, hey, East Palestine, we're going to cover the 45 and then some at East Palestine too. So that'll be bad.
I mean, they're both D7, right? Valley, we've been doing this back and forth every week. Where's Valley at, Austin? Are they D6? All right, so they won't play each other. Okay, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, so you don't win the EOAC, or that's the league they're in, but you're going to be in a high level position for D7. Kennedy's going to be in that mix. It's some other teams, but really it's a two-team run show there for that region, I think.
Valley used to be D7, right?
They were last year, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say they were last year.
Yeah, they moved up with the new enrollment numbers, just like Ursuline did from 4 to 3.
Yeah, competitive balance will get you.
Well, and the other interesting thing, and Austin, you alluded to it earlier, is Springfield drops from 6 to 7 this year, which makes it really interesting there in D7 and R26. I think there's some teams that it's going to be some interesting matchups come playoff time in R26.
I agree. I think Springfield can surprise some teams. I do.
Yeah.
That's Region 25.
My bad.
Yeah, and because you look, Springfield 4-4, they're sitting in the 10 spot. Lucas is 4-4, they're sitting in the 7 spot, right behind Southern, who's sitting in the 6 spot. So, I mean, Southern, they got a home game, and it already says they got the clinched their playoff spot for sure. But I mean, Lisbon's in there, and Lowville sitting at the 3 spot undefeated. Norwalk, St. Paul, JFK. I mean,
they're D.
That's all D7.
D7. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey guys, we got about
Oh.
a minute left in the show here, so we're gonna have to go a little quicker on these last.
No,
two.
we can. There's no time limit on this. We can go as long as we want.
I got a
Southeast.
time limit. I got 6
Oh,
kids
okay.
to put to bed.
Southeast 4-3 going to Rootstown 6-2. This is a 20-point spread in favor of Rootstown. Anybody want to take Southeast?
Nope. Give me the Rovers.
I think this one's tight. Rootstown.
All right.
The next
Another,
one we don't even have to talk about.
Yeah. The next one I think we can just skirt right by. South Range on senior parent night hosting Lakeview. Line on this game is 43. Running clock.
Yeah, Lakeview really pulled a Jefferson this year. Win their first 3 games and then kind of interleague play.
Kind of went south. Yeah, this like I said, everybody is on board with this one going that way. Probably on the next one here too. Wellsville hosting Valley Christian, who's 8-0, 36-point spread in this game.
Yeah, Valley Christian big.
Valley.
Cleveland Central Catholic coming to town to take on JFK. And this game's at Liberty because
Harding's
I don't
not
know why.
unavailable.
Harding's not available. I don't get why, because Harding's on the road at Cheney.
They haven't used Harding all season, though. Something happened in the offseason.
So where have they been playing their games?
They've been away.
Howland or Liberty.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, this is an 0-8 Cleveland team, and this is a 47-point spread. So don't think anybody's taking that one.
I'm disappointed it didn't get the full 49.
Yeah, they figured that something's there. They didn't want to give them that full 49. I'm not sure why, but I mean, 47 still is there. And then we got a battle. Our final Friday game is a battle of the Warriors. West Branch going to Carrollton. My notes on this one, both had close wins last week. West Branch beat Alliance. Carrollton, they got smacked earlier, not last week, but before that. And this is a 25-point line. West Branch is favored by 25 in this one.
Yeah, I think
I like West Branch.
I like West Branch in this game, but it's going to be interesting to see how they come out after a real battle last week against Alliance. That was a battle of what could be 2 of the top 2 area quarterbacks. I mean, you got to put them right there in the conversation. I know Brock Lowry's special. I know, there's a couple guys out there that are dudes, but I'm interested to see how West Branch comes out if they come out a little bit flat after riding high on that Alliance victory that was obviously for the league title last week.
I think West Branch expects to win every game they play. So I would disagree. I don't think they'll come out flat, but they seem to just take care of business for the last couple of years. So I expect them to do the same here.
Yeah, I like their chances. I'll get to see them in person next Saturday night. It should be interesting. I like West Branch.
And our lone Saturday game, the Big Red of Steubenville, come galloping into town to take on Mooney, who's 4-4. This is a 1:00 game on Saturday, and Mooney is getting 15 points in this one. And these used to be just slugfests. These two teams, when they met each other, it was unbelievable games. Crowds were packed. I've seen them play at Fitch before. I've seen them down at YSU play. And, I mean, they're going to be playing they play their home games at Middle Ridge. So that'll be interesting to see. I think Steubenville comes in and they probably flood that place with fans. But, man, I'm picking the Big Red in this one. It's hard to go against them being 7-1. They're still the juggernaut that they are. And Mooney's still struggling. So I like the Big Red.
Yeah, I agree with Paul.
Mac looks like he's waiting to drop one on us here, but
So
I'm
we'll
going
let
to
him go
have
last.
this moment because I'm going Steubenville as well. I think Reno just comes to town and handles business.
Listen, I've been saying all year that Cardinal Mooney it's on its way. It's on its way. this Saturday they get their first real signature win and beat Big Red, and this is going to propel them for the next 2 or 3 years because they're coming. They're coming. They're young. They're coming, and they play great defense, and it carries. And they're in every single game they play. There hasn't been a game they've been blown out. Okay, so
I agree with you that they're young and up and coming, but this ain't the one.
This is the one.
And Billy, this would be huge for them because they got Steubenville Friday, and then they turn around.
They're not beating Ursuline. They're not beating the U.
And then they got Ursuline. They got the Holy War the week after that. So right now they're sitting at number 11 in the playoffs, and nobody probably wants to see them.
Put them at like 7.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah. What?
Did you freeze? Oh, you're back.
No, I'm good. Nobody wants to see them. Realistically, none of these D5 schools, for the most part, want to see them lingering around there at anywhere from like 12 to 16.
I really think this is a game that they're in all the way till the end, and it's going to be a 1-possession game. And if they can have the lead and they're tight, pressure is definitely on Big Red to win this game. Mooney can just go out there and just play the game.
It helps that it's a day game and it's at Mooney, or it's at, I should say.
Right, it's their home game. So yeah, I'm going to use Boston. It's because they're at home. I'm going to take the home team in this one.
Well, the funny thing is when I look at our schedule here, we started off like the first probably like 15 picks. We pretty much took all the home teams, and then we went on a run and took a lot of the away teams on the back half of this week. So, we did. We'll see this.
All right, I got to bounce. I got to throw some BP.
So, all right, Billy. It'll be a good one. We'll see what happens there, but I just think Steubenville's they're just still too good. And listen, Mooney needs that win. I don't think they get it, but we'll see.
I do have something I wanted to mention real quick. I just got a text from a JFK dad. He's actually watching the show. He said the reason why they are not playing at Harding is because of construction that's being built behind the stadium. Warren Harding is building some kind of like big indoor facility behind the stadium, and they're not letting any teams besides Harding use their facility this year.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
They went to Howland, and then Howland, after like a half a season, apparently told them that, with soccer playoffs and everything that's going on there, that they had to probably find somewhere else. And they figured since Liberty wasn't going to be a playoff team, that they, use their field for the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah. Liberty probably not going to, unless they pull off some big wins there and squeak in at 16, but they'll be on the road the whole time anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
No.
But all right. Well, hey, we got 28 picks in there. Like I said, I'll get the rest of those guys' picks. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully some people remember that the show's on Wednesday. Rob, and if he's out there still. And we'll get the MLO bros back because they were out of town right now. And Billy will be a hit and miss with us. And Betos, as long as he's not mopping some floors, he'll be with us as well. So, again, we thank everybody for tuning in on our new Wednesday edition of the Lions Den. Guys, any parting words?
No, just a lot of good football being played this weekend. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Get out there and watch some football.
Remember to have your pets spayed or neutered.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, for all of us here at the Lions Den, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.